Hello, so my name's Michael Conneely, and this video and associated blog post brings to you this pretty full summary of the deep and vast planetary movements of December 2023. I've given it the title, December Astrology. Discover the gifts of your divine Mars and Venus, because they are actually two of the main focuses of this often fraught and vast month. And after the start summary, which I'm going to tell you in a moment, there follows a really detailed summary of the complex and muddled planetary energies and movements in December, with many retrogrades. But it's well worth unpiecing the picture, because the enlightenment and understanding and opportunities for healing and empowerment are considerable, especially if we understand the astrology energies more deeply, which this blog seeks to provide for you. I would say, do be very careful to consciously maintain your steps and preserve your stability in December's muddled and fraught energies. But realise that there is a sort of loving, comforting beacon in that Venus transits Libra this month. And also there's the opportunity for each of us to connect to our inner warrior and grow in that respect, because Sun and Mars transit Scorpio this month. So I would definitely say it's a wonderful time to go beyond your normal patterns and discover and grow the expression of your divine Mars and your divine Venus. Okay, here's the initial summary. Saturn is now retrograde since November the 4th. Saturn's retrograde imperative was of tying up loose ends, of completing unfinished business. That Saturnian imperative now recedes. Did you do all you needed to tie up your loose ends? To ready yourself for your Saturn path forward, which is happening now. Saturn now demands that we adopt the right path for the unfoldment of our destiny, for the healing of our key karmas, for our correct spiritual growth path at this time. If we don't open to our needed new path and way of being and way of understanding and way of manifesting in our life now, we will experience blocks because we're not responding to Saturn's energy imperative. And we will suffer and be smaller than we ought to be. But when we truly understand our Saturn destiny and life purpose, Saturn becomes experienced by us, not as the hard lord of karma, which he is, but also as our friend and guide. And we will progressively reap harvest, because of course Saturn was originally an agricultural deity. He's the divine face of that. Do get a reading from me if you want to know about your karmas, destiny and life path in this life. And certainly get a reading from me if Saturn is transiting through the sign before your natal moon, the sign of your natal moon, and the sign after your natal moon, in other words, if you're in Sade Sate, because I feel I can give you the deepest prompts and awarenesses of what you're going to experience and how to handle the Sade Sate. Also, get in touch with me for a reading if you've got your Saturn return now, or if Saturn is opposition your natal Saturn, or square your natal Saturn. I mean, another very dangerous point is the 22nd Drekana in your chart, and when Saturn is transiting that. It is so worth getting guidance at these Saturn crossroads times. And it is so worth checking out what Saturn is demanding of you this month and any month. Okay, let's go to Ketu, the south node of the moon. Ketu has been transiting the Vedic sign of Libra for 18 months, but on the 30th of October, Ketu retrograded into the next sign, Virgo. So Ketu's call now is, yes, to finish off the Libra material, which for every person in the world is about growing our relationship skills and indeed contacting our past life and ancestry issues which are affecting us. Because Ketu and Rahu, the North Node, have a very wide sphere of influence. They don't just have a couple of degrees of influence. But even though for many of us, especially if we have planets in the early part of Libra, Ketu Libra type demands still have to be worked through, but nevertheless Ketu has moved into Virgo, and so a new demand has arisen that we improve our connection to healing, that we adopt a better healing strategy and understanding in our life. Because Virgo is, of course, quite primarily about health, healing and right living. And indeed, we may have to branch out into alternative healing methods and be strong in ensuring that we bring these in respect of our health and healing needs now. So Ketu's call, now he's transiting in Virgo, is for each of us to embrace a more appropriate and healing path for ourselves. Do you think you're doing that? As I said, it might very well involve deeper connection to alternative herbal or earth-based medicines. There are so many healing techniques. My wife has done so many of them for many years online. See her website, maggiepashley.com. Now at the other end of the nodal axis, of course, is Rahu, the North Node. Rahu is becoming established in Pisces. He moved over from Aries into Pisces on the 30th of October. And I would say that the highest meaning of Rahu entering Pisces is for each of us to deepen our intuitive and visionary consciousness and self. Indeed, included is the call to couple with Ketu's new turn to your needed healing. Exercise your Rahu in Pisces intuitive powers there. But there's so much other vision work and vision journeys that it is so useful, healing, strengthening and enlarging to do. And I've been doing shamanic healings and indeed work with ancient deities as faces of the divine for 28 years now. So note that the nodes at root indicate our life purpose direction. We all of us come in where Ketu is. Ketu's position is based on the karmas we amassed by the time of the end of our last life, from our past lives and our ancestry issues. And our higher self chooses a particular selection of karmas for us to work on in this life, selected from that bigger statement. And the karmas selected are shown by our Vedic birth chart. But the sum total of our karmas can be so fascinatingly deciphered from our D60 Shashti-Amsha chart, showing what karmas, negative and positive, we had amassed at the end of our last life. Get a reading from me and I'll talk you through the wonderful insights of your Varga charts, as well as your current and predictive astrology and how to handle that insight. Okay, Mercury. Well, Mercury has quite confused energies through December. Mercury goes through a retrograde with 3 Gandanta zone crossings. And the Sun has 1 Gandanta crossing. So I'm talking about the Gandanta zone between Scorpio and Sagittarius. There are 3 Gandanta zones in Vedic astrology. They are the transition point from water sign to fire sign. In other words, from Pisces to Aries, Cancer to Leo, and Scorpio to Sagittarius. And it was finding out in one sentence that my moon was at 29 degrees 56 Pisces, and thus in the Pisces Aries Gandanta. And that one sentence described almost my entire life, fate and destiny. And Western astrology knew nothing of it. And that's why I also embraced Vedic astrology 28 years ago in the readings I give. So yes, Mercury is going through 3 Gandanta crossings at this time, and the Sun through 1. So as I said, this initial summary is followed by detailed information about each planet's movements, and check out when the 3 Mercury Gandanta crossings and the Sun's Gandanta crossing occur. And when planets are in the Gandanta, we can feel very uneasy and even confused or lost. That's because Gandantas are unworldly and unsupportive. But the very experience of being in that energy can open us to such wonderful insights and vision work possibilities. So the next point in this start summary is that Sun and Mars are transiting in Scorpio. In the negative sense, it's not nice. Please beware letting anger rise in you and take you over at times. In fact, the energies of the new moon of December the 14th could be very angry. Be aware. Don't fall for that part of the new moon energies. And Mars and Mercury transiting together, including in the Gandanta zone between Scorpio and Sagittarius, will cause loads of turbulence for us to be aware of and manage. But the positive side of Sun and Mars transiting Scorpio is that as the month outturns, each of us can more and more make connection to our inner warrior. Our inner warrior might well need some healing work done on it. Our inner warrior might well need some empowerment work doing on it. But it's so wonderful if you make the stand in this month of December to assert yourself in your warrior way, properly of course, but strongly. And in fact that brings me to the next planet, which is Venus in this initial summary. Because I've talked about the need for us to do work with our inner Mars, we also have a wonderful chance to do work with our inner Venus. Venus is transiting Libra, Vedic Libra, until the 25th of December. And that's a beautiful energy of love and kindness, sexuality and art and beauty. Ketu has in fact transited out of Libra into Virgo, so that clears Libra of the cutting Ketu energies that have been going on for the last 18 months. Venus had to transit across Ketu at the end of Virgo to get into Libra, but now as the month flows, make the conscious effort to connect to and express your inner Venus. Foster fairness, kindness and good health. Make yourself stronger. But don't let the aggressive side of the Sun, Mars, Scorpio turbulent energy ruin this Venus opportunity. And don't, by the way, let Venusian languor and self-pleasuring take over. So this is the time to express the fullness of our inner Mars and our inner Venus. So the next planet I'd mention in this initial summary is Neptune. Neptune is stationing at 0 Pisces all through the month. But I would say watch out for the visionary possibilities and potentials which are the highest expression of Neptune. And be aware when the other planets transiting in December move into an aspect from Neptune. Check out and maximize what that can offer you. Okay, next in the summary, Pluto. Pluto in Vedic Capricorn is square Venus in Libra. This is such a wonderful opportunity to come more fully into your proper power in the context of your relationship. Seek to be genuine and true and loving. Now Mars starts December receiving a square aspect from Lilith. This is a call to be more genuine in the way you assert yourself. You see, packed within the Lilith of each of us is so much that is stuffed down into our unconscious and our shadow side, and we claim we don't know it's there. It might be fully affecting us moment by moment, but we don't have a conscious knowledge of it. And so we can't heal the negative bits. We can't draw on the positive bits that weren't allowed by our parents, teachers, priests, etc. and were stuffed down into the shadow. But Lilith is transiting square Mars from the beginning of the month. What a call to develop our awareness of our unconscious and shadow material and use that to express our Mars better and more fully. The last detail in the initial summary is Vesta. And I chose this because I love Vesta in my own particular natal chart, and I'll mention that at the end of the detailed reports. But Vesta this month moves from 16 Gemini to 9 Gemini. It's in Ardra Nakshatra. And you see, Vesta is the sacred hearth, the sacred flame, our needed sense and placement of the divine presence that we can focus on. Keep awareness of your natal Vesta sacred flame and altar or hearth flame during the very changeable and conflicting energies of December. So, before I actually go into the detailed summary of planet movements in December, I just mentioned some resources. Get a reading from me, go to my Star Wheel Astrology website. And in the Star Wheel Astrology website, check out the December charts page under the More drop-down, which shows the charts and ephemeris in both Western and Vedic astrology. You can read about the key energy of each planet in my Planets Interpretation page. You can read about the energy of each sign in my Sign Interpretations page. And there's also a page under the More drop-down for identifying the major life areas of each house in your chart. And there's a list also of my wonderful nakshatra videos and blogs where you can read about the energies of each of the wonderful 27 nakshatras or watch the video. Now, to start the actual energies of the December 2023 planets, I'd actually like to start with the fact that the winter solstice wonderfully occurs on December the 21st.